Okay, welcome back to day 2 of group stages in Alliance Tournament 10. I'm Kill2 here with Ravy. We're about to see Northern Coalition against Mildly Intoxicated. Some interesting stuff going on here. Maybe Mildly Intoxicated having a tough fight on their hands.
I do think they are going to have a very tough fight. This is going to be a very difficult decision of how to begin this fight. Northern Coalition has brought a I think, a much better 3-faction battleship team than we saw earlier. It's 2 Vindicators, a Balgorn, a Neros, 2 Wolves, or 3 Wolves, 3 Ishkers, and 2 Griffins. So they're using up all of their ships, using them on effective ships too. And the Mildly Intoxicated team has brought in a fairly standard Mimitar rush with some damps.
And pay attention when this match starts to see where these blue ships go. You can see that's like opposite beacons, a spread of ranges, and it's going to be interesting to see whether Mildly Intoxicated decides to dive in on the battleships or try to avoid them and go for the logistics.
Yeah. If they can get a hold of that logistics, that's going to be their best bet. But they have to go really wide around this Balgorn.
And it looks like they're flying straight through. Oh, no, they're
going after the Logi, but they're getting within range of that Balgorn.
Yeah, they're definitely going to get at least a couple battlecruisers.
We can see Uki, the well-known captain for Mildly Intoxicated, already neuted. He had web on him, but the web got switched off. But he does have the newts from the Balgorn on him. We'll see how well he can tank.
Oh, there goes the Neros is taking some damage. That's probably the Mildly Intoxicated support arriving on the Neros.
Which, again, great use of Sabres and Jaguars. You can use the Jaguars for your tackling and the Sabres just for pure DPS. The Sabres, I guess, are actually, some of them are after these Griffins. Yeah, we're seeing the Jags after the Neroses and Sabres going after Griffins. And that's an excellent use of those 2 ships as the Griffin goes down. So we're seeing the first blood going to Mildly Intoxicated, and as of now, they're holding up. But as the fight goes longer, it's going to get more and more in favor of this Balgorn.
Right, I was going to say the effect of the faction battleships is definitely going to be felt, especially the Balgorn, the longer the match goes, when the newts start to really take a toll. But yeah, like you said, right now he's holding. Another interesting thing, they did have 3 of the Slipners webbed at one point, now down to just focusing on Uki. They let the other 2 go. So they'll probably catch up to that on Neros and bring him down pretty shortly.
Yeah, but Uki is now dropping very fast. He's down below 50 meters a second. He's got the webs from both of the Vindicators on him, and he won't be going anywhere.
So now, at least 2 Slipners are on top of that NCO Neros, along with a lot of support. The rest of the NC support is there as well. The Ishkers are there trying to fight off Jaguars, I assume. And as you can see, though, that Scimitar for Mildly Intoxicated able to keep those support ships alive as well as Uki and the Slipner.
Neros for Northern Coalition.
Yes.
Now that's going to give the Mildly team a chance to take down these battleships. They can finish off the frigates fast, use their own tackle for that, but at this point the Slapners are probably going to start trying to bring down one of these faction battleships. I'm going to be interested to see which one they go after. If this was me, I'd probably try to take down a Vindicator first to reduce some DPS. But Uki is actually surviving amazingly well. I'm very impressed by his tank here.
Uki has... That's really weird. Uki is in the middle of the arena with the Balgorn. The Balgorn's still shooting Uki.
He did have the Vindicators on him, though, and they gave up.
Yeah, they gave up. They left. They're now back where the Neros was when he died, and it looks like they're going to be just trying a different Slipner. That's kind of an interesting choice.
Now, I wonder if Uki, considering how famous he is for the tournament, whether or not they put, say, a heavier tank on him.
Yeah.
Possibly
double XL tank the Uki Slipner and have the other one.
You can't use double.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that.
You can't use double ASBs in the tournament. But
wow, look though, you might be right. It might be a bait tank because the other Slipner dying. At the same time, all the support for NC dead now. All the time we were talking, they killed the rest of the Ishkers and both of those Wolves.
Well, Dark Lord's actually pulling back a little bit. He's going to go down, I think, but it's taking a long time to finish him off in structure. The tanks on these Sleipners doing very well. I'm really going to be interested to see exactly whether or not they're able to finish off Dark Lord. He's pulling back shield now. This is a very, very strong match for Mildly. I went into this thinking that they were going to have a tough time of it, but they made it past the faction battleships. They got right in and took down the Neros. And then now they're in an extremely strong position. They are tanking everything at the moment. We're seeing damage being split, switching targets, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. The Scimitar can switch very quickly its reps because the reps land at the beginning of the cycle for shield rather than at the end for armor.
It did kill a Saber.
Yep. But
it's a bad sign when your Vindicators have to focus on Sabers when there's this much stuff on the field.
Yeah, and the Vindicator already at half armor with no reps coming to it. I'm extremely impressed by the tank on these Slapners. They are holding very, very well. Likely with an extra large ancillary booster plus the rep from the Simi. And it's working out very well for them. They're just able to sit there tanking. Now, we are seeing tracking disruptors applied to the Vindicators. It'll be interesting how many they are. Because with those webs, the Vindicators should still be able to track quite well.
Did you notice whether or not there goes that Vindicator, by the way. So just a Vindicator and a Balgorn left now for NC. Did you notice whether the NC support had any E-War that could have prevented the Scimitar from getting reps? Because I was thinking, outside of E-War, part of the problem for the NC team is they really don't have a way to deal with the Scimitar. They don't have the mobility to get to it with the Vindicators, and
they've got the Ishkers and the Wolves to do damage, but it didn't do the trick in that because they didn't go after them. They used them for anti-support themselves. The Griffins were there, but the Griffins were intelligently an early target for the Sabres.
True.
So Uki realized that he needed to take down the Griffins fast, use the Sabres for it, and they went down very quickly. Sabres will shred them.
Really what it came to, I mean, like you say, a lot of credit to Mildly Intoxicated for making this extremely difficult, but really what had to happen for NC is they really needed to bring a Slipknot or two down
early,
right? As
what they also
flew
needed
across
to
the top of
do
the
was catch these Sleipnirs and to keep them away from their own Aniros, because it wasn't until the Sleipnirs got on top of it that the Aniros really died.
Right.
We saw the Sleipnirs go within range of the faction battleships. Uki got webbed right away by the Balgorn. The Vindicators to get on top of them. If those Vindis and Balgorn had spread their webs to slow down the ships and then do some damage, like maybe use the Balgorn to web down other ships in the primary and use the webs from the Vindi for the primary, I think would have gone a lot better for them.
And there goes Vindi number 2, so just a Balgorn left. Kind of a, I mean, in the scale of things, not an extremely expensive match. I guess there could be more expensive setups, right?
Yeah, these weren't...
still a lot of bling going down right here.
These weren't flagships, worth mentioning, but they are still very expensive ships.
So, yeah, we'll just have to get the Balgorn through armor and finish him off, and that will be Mildly Intoxicated winning today. They've been real strong. That's 2 wins for them, right? So they'll be guaranteed into
yes, because they beat Alpha Volley last week, right? Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, they're in a great position. They're going to be going through. Not a huge surprise considering the tournament pedigree they've got. And doing, very well with this setup. This is a... really, I think you can see the difference between the teams that use these cookie-cutter Sleipnir setups
I was going to say, we've seen so many different results with setups that look really similar when it comes to the Scimitars. I mean, the Slipnirs and Cyclones. Any of the Minotaur variations, you see huge variance in the results, usually based on piloting and FCing, I think.
And it comes down to training, practice, and experience. And you can get that experience by practicing. If this is your first tournament, if you practice enough, you can catch up and pass a lot of these teams. A lot of these teams have trouble getting enough numbers, so sometimes you need to pair up with another group to do a bit of training. But yeah, here we go. Mildly Intoxicated with their experience and training showing over Northern Coalition.
And so we'll go back to the studio.